This is my second year at playing around with rooftop hydroponics. Last year I experimented with doing a combination of a recirculating deep water culture and polycarbonate. The idea was that I noticed a lot of people try to do hydroponics in garages or on roofs. They ran into the situation where the excessive heat of the nutrient solution would pretty much kill off all the plants. And I had a hypothesis that the reason was not so much from the heat, but from just the oxygen being driven off out of the nutrient solution. So I figured with using an ultrasonic fogger, you would basically supercharge the nutrient solution with oxygen, and the fog itself would have an evaporative cooling effect, and essentially you could get much higher heat tolerances. Now last year I set everything up inside the greenhouse here, and I had nutrient solutions actually exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and nothing died. Today, in fact, this has been the first warm day in a while, and nutrient solution was about 93 degrees when I came in. So all the plants you're seeing here, these larger lettuces, they are about 12 days from being transplanted outdoors from the little grow plugs. Originally I had them on the T5 lights, and they were teeny tiny things. As you can see, I've been getting some pretty good root formation. As the roots develop, I've been dropping the water level. Generally I started up about halfway up, so it touched the cups, and as the roots have developed, I'm going to drop the water level down to maybe about 25 to maybe third up. I found this system really works well because the fog gives plants, the roots, the oxygen they need, and the water reservoir under here gives it a buffer. Under like nutrient film systems, or there's this massive water here that prevents the wild temperature fluctuations. The temperature kind of adjusts gradually during the day, and I find that stresses the plants a whole lot less. And here you probably see some fog coming out. I'm not sure if it's showing up in the video, but got a little adjustable drain down here. I can change the fittings out and adjust the water level as time goes on. Let's see if I can give you guys a better view of the fog. Not sure if you can see that. It's showing up in video, but you can see a little jet of fog over there, and I'll show you the fog generator in a little bit. Peppers here were only transplanted about a day ago. Originally I was trying spinach. I've been actually trying crops that are not that heat tolerant, just to kind of experiment with them. Spinach was a total fail. There's just too much heat, too much light up here. I'm going to try it again with spinach in this system, but indoors under artificial light. And you can see here I'm already getting some roots. Just this is, again, it's not even 2 days in. And you might ask yourself, why am I bothered growing corn hydroponically? Well, I read online that any type of deep water culture, corn, the roots die and that's the end of it. So I was just kind of curious how it would do. So I took some of this red sweet corn my wife picked up a while ago, and so far the roots seem to be doing pretty good. Again, this is only 12 days, and these guys were tiny little things when I transplanted them out here. Get in there. Cucumbers are doing real well. This is a hybrid variety, pickling cucumber. I forgot the exact name of it, but they've been taken off. This guy over here got damaged from high winds, broke off, but the roots are doing real well. So I think he's going to recover. This guy's a recent transplant. He's only been in a few days. The one I had originally just wasn't growing any roots, so I swapped it out. The rest of these guys are just doing great. The peas, which are not a heat-tolerant plant, they've been getting some pretty good root systems going. That guy's is probably like a better view right here. But they've shown some stress from the heat. But even already they're starting to put on peas. So I'm kind of curious how these guys are going to do as the weather heats up. Tomatoes have been real happy. I've been getting really good root growth on these. I can't even pull this guy out because he's got so many roots growing on. Again, this is just 12 days, and he was just a tiny little plug when I put him out here originally. So we got some butternut speckle lettuce, something my wife likes. It's gotten good root formation, and these guys have survived the heat just fine. And these guys are some recent transplants. Originally I did some mixed greens out here. These guys replaced some mixed greens. The mixed greens turned out to be mostly radishes, which went into my salad last night. So I'm going to see how some Brussels sprouts are going to do out here. They did pretty well even in the hot greenhouse. Unfortunately, I didn't even get some Brussels sprouts because what happened is we had an ice age-like winter. Plastic ripped in the greenhouse during a storm, and everything froze, and that was the end of that. So I started planting very, very late last year. I didn't get everything in until like early September. That's garlic chive I just put out. So, give you another view of the mechanics here. These are half-inch gate valves. Found these on Amazon. Made in the U.S. The quality of these things are really good. I tried using this is the water distribution system. Comes in 2 points, one about halfway up the rail, one towards the beginning of the rail. Just a constant flow of water, which then drains back through here through 1-inch PVC. But again, back to these valves. These things are much better than the globe valve you would pick up in Home Depot. They're great for doing the balancing. You can do little tiny adjustments and get the exact flow rate you want in each one of the rails. Over here where the ball valves are, this is the fog distribution system. I got a fog generator in the greenhouse. It comes down a 2-inch pipe. I got some couplings here that I can disconnect during the winter to make sure I don't get any water trapped in here and freezing up. And each rail I can shut off the fog and the water and isolate them in case I'm doing a rail clean out, or I got something else going wrong that I need to take care of, so I can just shut down one rail without shutting down the entire system. Over here, roof's about a 5-degree pitch, so we've got a gravity drain going back to the nutrient solution buckets. So the first question is, why do you have 2 buckets? Well, I found out with the high rate of flow rate of water, I was getting water backing up into the fog piping, at which point the fog wouldn't flow. So what I did is I created a second nutrient bucket with one of the smaller pumps that I wasn't planning on using, and I got a diaphragm flow switch. When the water reaches about here, this diaphragm flow switch will kick in, activate the pump, and it'll pump it back into the nutrient bucket solution. The reason I got 2 pipes here, one is leading inside the greenhouse, which I'll have at about another 70 plants or so in there in the not too distant future. Eventually I'm going to try and get this greenhouse set up with 16mm triple insulated polycarbonate panels, and I think some additional installation work. I can pretty much keep anything in there, even with the really harsh winter we had last winter. If that happens again, probably about 9-10 months out of the year I can keep stuff growing in there all year if I add some heat. In here I'm using a little giant pump. Originally I was trying to use the active aqua pumps, but they don't produce enough head. They got the flow, but they don't have the head. You can't get the system balanced. With the length of the piping, I need more head. This little giant pump I actually picked up expecting flooding from Sandy. Thankfully, being below sea level, that didn't happen. We didn't get any heavy rain. So I brought this thing out for the hydroponics, and it's producing more head and flow than I need. I could probably run about 4 times as many plants just on a single pump alone. Nutrient solution bucket, these are rated for 500 pounds. They're just fiberglass tubs I got from a MasterCard. They're easy to work with, they're easy to drill, they're virtually indestructible. They're really great. Eventually, see, I got some extra holes back there. I'm going to be adding in a coolant system. I'm not adding like a typical chiller that you would pick up at a hydroponics store. I got a friend of mine who's going to help me convert that igloo cooler into a thermal storage system. I picked up these ice storage bowls. They're using commercial thermal storage systems and HVAC systems for like high rises and factories and that. And during the evening, I'll have a little refrigerant chiller that'll be turning those those balls full of water into ice. And during the day, when we get the temperature peaks, it'll circulate propylene glycol mix through a closed stainless steel tube, and hopefully that'll keep the temperature spikes from getting too high. I know the plants have survived at higher temperatures, but I think they'll do better if I keep everything under 80 degrees. So let me show you the fogger. Eventually in here, I'm going to add in another 72 plants, possibly more if I can get them in. This is where I had my original setup last year, but I decided to make some design changes. So in here, this is just a smaller fiberglass version of the nutrient bucket. You see I have a little leakage there, and got some algae growing. So in here, got a 5-head fogger. See it going there. It came with a float. This is one of the better ones I found on the market. It's worked excellent. It's produced more fog than I even need. So, I got plenty of expansion with just this. The reservoir, I keep a constant flow of water, which is actually a little too low. This hose setup is just temporary. Once I get the rest of the rail set up in here, this will be set up a little more professionally. You need with foggers to keep a constant flow of water on them. These things do produce heat, and it takes a long time for this water level to go down, but you want to keep it cool, or you're going to have like 105 degree fog coming out of this thing. Just to give you an idea of the amount of fog that's coming out of this, maybe you can see it. Now, I had no idea how much fan power I needed, so I found this on Amazon. These are it's a little Atwood blower, 12 volt. They're used on yachts and stuff for ventilating bilges. It's against 12 volt, low voltage. Picked up a little speed control on Amazon, and found a transformer here, which is actually rated for LED lighting. This one can actually be mounted outside. It's waterproof. It's really good quality. This actually took me a little while to find. A lot of the 12 volt transformers I found were absolute garbage. And that's the transformer for the it's 24 volt AC transformer for the fogger. So this blower, it's only on very low speed, and I got plenty of capacity to increase the amount of plants that I have. So anyway, I'll give you one little panorama shot. And I guess I didn't tell you guys about these. These are 3/4 inch rails. This is where the fog gets delivered. I noticed on some previous fog-ponic designs, you'd always have the fog come down like in one end. And the problem with that design was that when the roots get really thick, your first couple plants maybe get some fog, everything else will be starved. So between each rail, I inject fog between each plant. And this has actually worked very, very well. Everything gets fog. Right here. So I'm kind of curious what will happen in the next few weeks. I'm hoping this will work out as well as last year, except this time I got it in 3 months earlier, so hopefully I'll get some good yields, especially out of the tomatoes. And thanks for watching.